Good afternoon. Good morning, everyone. There are 834 million users of TikTok, 2.3 billion users on Instagram, 900 million on LinkedIn, and 2.1 billion on YouTube. Video, social, and business networking, it's difficult to ignore those numbers. I have read recently that 86% of Americans get their news online or through video. I'm Valerie Osmond, SVP Divisional and Strategic Sales for ArchMI. With those numbers, Arch felt it important to bring you ideas and how-tos for video content. Ginger Bell is an Emmy Award Winning Producer and best-selling author, and we are thrilled that you have joined us and Ginger today for today's webinar, Tapping into Your Video Mojo. Ginger, thanks for being here.
Awesome, Valerie. Thank you so much for having me. And I tell you what, those are amazing statistics. I mean, you think about that. I know it's globally, right? But we have a very high percentage of that here in the United States. So I am excited to start sharing so many great tips with you as we're getting started. A couple of things. First of all, you can listen either on your phone or on your computer. And I have instructions here on how to do that. And then let's talk about questions, because I know you're going to have questions as we go along today. So if you do have questions, feel free to type them in the Q&A bar or in the chat box. And let's go ahead and just do a little check right now. Make sure that you all know how to ask questions. I know we've been doing webinars for a while now, but let me know where you're calling in from. Where from across the country you are calling in from. I know, Valerie, you're in one of my favorite places, Atlanta, Georgia, and I'm actually home today in Portland, Oregon. It is a rainy, and I know we are looking forward to some sunshine. So you should be able to, so Brian, you're saying chat disabled. You should be able to type in, let me know if you can do, oh, the chat is disabled. Gotcha. Okay. So it's just the questions and answers. How's that? So type into the question and answer box. And we are from across the country. Hello, Renee, Montana. We've got Tennessee. We've got Jacksonville, North Carolina, windy Maryland. Carla, I know you guys have been having some nice weather. Mark, my favorite town in San Diego. Grand Junction. Carrie, hello, grew up in Colorado. Miss those springs. And so Michelle, hello, Michelle, Seattle. Okay, across the country. So are you guys ready to get started and start talking about some video mojo? So I have put into the chat box links to the PowerPoint presentation, so the slide deck I'm going to go through, and a handout. We are recording this, and I know I've already received several emails from people this morning saying, I can't attend. Can you please send me a recording? And the answer is absolutely yes. So we'll send a copy of the recording out to you. It'll come tomorrow, and I'll also include those links. So if you don't grab it here, I'll make sure and send a follow-up to you as well. Okay, you guys ready to get started? Let's do it. As Valerie said, I am an Emmy Award Winning Producer, have been in the mortgage industry for some time. I always say I got started in the mortgage industry when my son was in first grade, and last year he graduated with his MBA. So I've been around the industry for a little bit. But in 2012, I decided I wanted to really expand my reach. I was doing a lot of training and speaking on the West Coast, but I wanted to be able to expand nationally. And I was looking for ways to do that, and was having a conversation with a couple of different people, and they said, well, why don't you write a book? And so I was fortunate to have the opportunity to co-author a book with Brian Tracy. We had several bestsellers list. And then from that, I started promoting myself and using the leverage of the book to do videos and to talk about it on social media and to get into doing more speaking engagements. And what I did from that very first beginning of saying, hey, I want to build my presence, I always learned, I always promoted and shared, and I always looked for other opportunities. Since then, I've been able to write another book with Brian Tracy, a book with Jack Canfield, and I've published over 10 books on my own. Co-produced a documentary for Folds of Honor, which we won the Emmy. And then I've also received several Telly Awards on my own. Now, I tell you this, not in a way of bragging, because if you know me, I am like the farthest from a bragging person that you know. In fact, I hate that. And if you're like that, where it's like, hey, I've won the President's Award or Circle of Excellence, and type into the Q&A, let me know if you're that way, where it's like, hey, I'm an achiever, but I'm not a bragger. And I feel very uncomfortable doing that. And if you're that way, let me know, because I have a feeling I'm not the only person that feels that way. Right? So you guys are saying, yeah, not a bragger. That's me. Absolutely no bragging. We feel uncomfortable doing that, right? There's just something, hey, I can't do it. But the thing, and I want you to think about, and I want you to listen to what I'm saying right now. It's not a matter of bragging. It is a matter of branding. Because I want you to think about the things that you're doing to promote you, to promote your expertise, to promote your knowledge, to promote all that you do, who you are, what you know, all those things is important in branding you. And here's why. When Valerie introduced me, she led in with Ginger is an Emmy Award winning producer. Now, for me, that was important to me because it was a goal that I had. I wanted to be able to accomplish that. And I did accomplish that, and I want to do it again. But that meant something as far as my clients. The same thing when I first became a best-selling author, and my clients would introduce me, hey, it's best-selling author. It's a matter of branding. So I want you to think of that, because when you think of that as far as how it's branding you, it's not about bragging. It is about branding. So can you guys do that? Type in the question and say, hey, yep, it's not about bragging. It's about branding, right? And I apologize, guys. I know the chat box is disabled. I'm not sure what button I hit to do that. So we just have the Q&A box today, but type in there. Okay, so remember this. It's what? It's not about bragging. It is about what? Branding, right? It's not about bragging. It is about branding. And the reason why that's so important is because we no longer have a choice about having an online presence. And I'll let you know, we've been doing some research and some studying, and I'm sure you've heard about AI, artificial intelligence, right? It's all over. Everyone's talking about it. And ChatGPT, which is an open AI source that actually came out in November of 2022. It seems like it's been here forever. AI's been around for a long time. I've used Jasper for a long time in my writing, but this ChatGPT is pretty big. And so you need to have a presence online. And we've been testing it, just honestly putting somebody's names into the ChatGPT to see what comes up, what's out there. And because I have been branding myself and writing books and publications and doing video and things like that, I have a presence. And it's no longer a choice about having a presence. You need to have a presence online. And the statistics, speak for itself. There's Google processes over 99,000 searches every single second of every single day. And many of those searches are what? To check on you. And think about it. We all do it. You meet a real estate agent. What's the first thing you do when you meet a real estate agent? Where do you go? You go to social media, or you go to Google, you type in their name, and you see what comes up. So you need to be aware of what comes up on you. You need to be aware of your websites, your social media, any other kind of, I call it digital medium, and that can be different publications that you can use to educate consumers, to highlight you and your unique features. Anything where a consumer can find out about you, engage with you on a personal level is critical right now. And the reason why is because, and I want you to understand this, the importance of this, we are the CEOs of our own companies, and it's called Me Incorporated. Because to be in business today, our most important job is to be the head marketer for the brand called you. That is you, Me Incorporated. And you've never really thought about you. I was having a conversation with a coaching client the other day, and he said, if my life were like a business, if I treated my life like a business, what would my mission statement be? And we don't think about that, right? We're so focused on sales and business and things like that we don't think about who is you? Who is you? And what are you? What are you brand? 81% of consumers conduct online research before making a purchase online. Now, granted, our transaction is not completed online, but a lot of it is done online, and they're looking for you online. And so you have to realize you are your own unfair advantage. It's all about you. And it's taking your strengths and your interests and your passions and your knowledge and putting that all into your personal brand. Because we're talking about what? Me Incorporated. I want you to think about that, right? Write that down. We're focusing on Me Incorporated. It's not your company brand. It's not the company you work for. It's not your business brand. It's your personal brand. And this is important because honestly, I could start any type of new business. And I did change the name of my company. I used to be Go-To Training. I changed it to Edge Marketing a couple of years ago. Honestly, nobody knew the difference because everyone knows me. It's the power of me. I could call it probably whatever I wanted to because I have branded me. And the same with you, no matter what company you go to, no matter what business you start, if you're building your personal brand the way you should, that gives a perception of you, who you are, builds your reputation. Your personal brand creates the image of you for the outside world. And I always love this. So your personal brand is the story that's told about you when you are not in the room. What do people say about you? What do they talk about as far as your strengths? Why they like working with you? All of those things. That's your personal brand. That's your thumbprint. That's your impression. So why is your personal brand so important? And again, you've heard me say this, your story is being told online. And so you need to build your personal brand. And by doing so, it's going to allow you to tell the story as you want it to be told. It's going to allow you to establish yourself as an expert and a leader. And it's going to connect with your borrowers beyond your products and services. So let's talk about your online presence. And I want you to be very honest with yourself. Do you have one? Type into the Q&A box. Let me know. Do you have an online presence? Is it something that's in the works? Have you started it? What are you doing with it? Where do you want to go with it? Okay, so I'm seeing some of you, yes, no, partial, somewhat, minimal. Some of you are yes, good, but limited. So yeah, so I'm seeing a lot of yes, you have it. So that's good. So let's talk about your online presence and how to establish it. Because one of the things we do a social media audit for some of our clients. And I'm always amazed how many times I'll go in to social media and there's nothing in the about page. There's no contact information. There's not even a website as far as being able to get in touch with someone. And so you need to really go through and do a diagnostic checkup on your social media, on your websites. And I'm not just talking about your company websites, I'm talking about personal websites you have as well. And think about branding you. And if you don't have an online presence, what's keeping you from getting one or improving it? A lot of people say, hey, I don't have a good headshot. You know what? Honestly, our phones can take good headshots. Canva can remove a background. So you kind of can't use that as an excuse anymore. And most people don't want professional headshots. I have a professional headshot. I actually just have a brand new book that we're publishing. And I'm blessed to be actually co-publishing it with my son, who has his master's in marketing and is helping me kind of put everything together. And so I have a picture in the book about the authors, and it has my son and I. It's very informal. We're actually at a video shoot, videotaping something. And I had somebody comment, it's like, that's not a professional. And it's like, people want to see you, and that's part of your brand. So you don't necessarily need to have a professional headshot. What's keeping you from having a good online presence? Don't think you need it. And I'm here to tell you, you do 100%, 110. A lot of you, it's just you don't know how to do it. And you're busy. I get that. So get someone that can help you. There are definitely people out there. If you don't know someone, reach out to me. I can get you in touch with someone who can do a social media diagnostic checkup and get everything in order. Linktree, if you all, and I don't have it in this thing because I'm not going through the how-tos, but Linktree, link.tre, I think is what it is. It's a great way to pull all of those together. And you can put all of your links into one. It's super simple. If you go to, mine is callgingerbell.com. That's my Linktree. You can see it's just a bunch of links. And so that's a great way to be able to kind of streamline things. For a lot of people, you don't know what to post. Maybe you're struggling with how to come up with the content. And finally, some people don't see the value in it. But the reality is, even if it's something that you're not constantly updating for your social, at least have good information in there. At least have it to where someone can get in touch with you. And a whole lot of don'ts, honestly, equals a whole lot of lost business, because that's one of the first things people go and search online. I do it all the time too. It's like, I'll go search for somebody online. If I don't see anything on my first Google search, I'll go into LinkedIn. I'll go into Facebook. You know, especially I run a weekly podcast. And so oftentimes I'll be wanting to get some back history on a guest. And so I will go and search for that information. It's like your path. It's like leaving a little path as far as who you are and what you do. So how do you do it? First of all, we've established this, right? It's not bragging, it's branding. So I want you to start thinking of yourself as a brand. I want you to assess your strengths. What are your strengths? What are you really good at? Are you very good at helping first-time homebuyers? Are you very good at education? Are you very good at working with realtors? Are you very good at putting together loan files? You know, going through assessing your strengths in business at work. And then I want you to think about understanding your passions. You know, I was talking to, and Mitchell is his name. And he said, if I treated my life like a business, what would my mission statement be? And so tying in your strengths and your passions are important in building your brand. 2 reasons. Your passion is really what comes out in your voice. That's who people build a relationship with. It's who they see, and it's who they become a part of. It's that story, again, that's told when you're not in the room. So understand your passions, what's important to you, and then start building your online presence. So take a good look at yourself and go online. Don't do it right now, but at some point, even today, go on and Google yourself. What comes up? What's being said about you online? So I did this on ChatGPT, and you can do this. How many of you are using ChatGPT at all? Has anyone started playing around with it at all? Type in the Q&A and let me know if you have been playing around with the Chat GPT. That could honestly, I know Valerie and Yolanda aren't yet, that could be a whole nother webinar. So if you are playing around with it, okay, so some of you have never heard of it. So Kim, you've been playing around with it. You've looked at it. So Chat GPT it's AI. So it's an artificial intelligence, and it's amazing what it'll do. But if you go to Chat GPT, and you can Google it and find out, type in your name. And sometimes you have to type it in a couple times, maybe mortgage, see what comes up. For me, I did this last week. We did a little exercise. And it was interesting to see because it types as it's going away. And it said, industry leader, well known for blah, 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 blah. And so this came up because I've written so many articles, because I have so many things out there. This came out in Chat GPT. And this is why I'm telling you, establishing an online presence right now is so important, because as this grows, this is going to be what's said about you. And it's what people are searching for you. So think about that. And if you're not sure about you and your strengths and what you're good at, ask others. Ask your customers, ask your real estate partners. Hey, what's my superpower? Why do you like working with me? And again, remember, it's not bragging, it's branding. So I want you to remember that, okay? And then ask yourself, where do you want to be? Where do you want to be? What are some of the things that you want to be doing? Do you want to start doing more education? I'm talking to a lot of people lately who are really focused on building a legacy and really establishing that knowledge and sharing their knowledge. So where do you want to be? Is that something that you want to do? Where do you want to stand out? Think about that. Those are all things that go into your brand, right? So you start thinking of yourself as a brand. What do you want to be associated with when people think of you? Think of your name. Are there certain qualities you want to be associated with you, with your brand? Do you want to be received as a subject matter expert on certain subjects? What are those? Write all those things down. And then think about, as your personal brand, what do you have to offer? What are you offering them? As a CEO of Me Incorporated, are you making their life easier? Are you solving a problem? Are you helping them? Are you teaching them something? Why should they care? Because all of those things go into your branding. So when you think about the Me Incorporated, this is your branding strategy. You are a business. If your life was a business, what would your mission statement be? What would that look like? And then I want you to have an understanding of your target audience. Think about them psychologically. What do they want? What do they need? What challenges do they face? What do they believe in? What are their attitudes? What are their behaviors? All of these things go into a link between you and your brand. Because when you start establishing your brand, your strengths, your interests, what's important to you, your passions, what ends up happening is you attract that kind of person. I always say like attracts like. And so when you have an idea as far as your target audience and you have an understanding, and to your target audience is who you like working with. Obviously, they have to bring something to the table. They have to be a customer, right? But you have an understanding for who they are and what they want. That aligns with you and your brand. So you want to think about that. Now, housing and homeownership has changed dramatically over the past several years for a lot of different reasons. COVID started it, rates, contributed to it, lack of inventory. And so we have really an entire generation that is at a different focal point of buying their first home, maybe their second home. And so you have to have an understanding for them psychologically what's happening. And I'll give you an example. So I was reading an article by a woman who's well known in the industry, and she was speaking at a women's conference, non-industry related, and talking about finances and what's happening as far as light of the housing industry. And after she spoke, she had a young woman come up to her, and she, was a couple of years into the workforce, graduated with an MBA. She said, listen, I have an 800 credit score and I have money saved to buy a house. I don't know where to start. And we have an entire generation of people who don't know where to start. And it's different now. And they want to have those answers, and they want to have an understanding, and they come with better questions, and they come better equipped, and they can do the research where? Online, right? So those are the things that you want to get into. And Cindy, yes, we are going to talk about videos. Are we going to talk about videos? Yes, we are. We're getting into that next. This all ties into doing videos, because I think when somebody starts doing videos, they don't recognize how much your brand goes into doing videos. So I want you to think about that. Who's your target audience? Their age, their gender, lifestyle, education, what they have for their living situation, and then how that can be incorporated into your personal brand. Your passions, your goals, your past successes, your experiences, your personality traits, your values, your beliefs, your interests. What do you want to achieve? All these things, these are all underlying factors of your personal brand. And these are all things that go into videos. So think about 3 keys to success in branding. Don't try and appeal to everyone. Understand your target audience, be accountable, and make them trust you. And there's several places where you can build your brand. We know them: Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, YouTube, podcasts, and your website. And yes, video is a great way to be able to brand yourself. So Cindy, we are getting into videos. So here's the reason, top reasons originators don't do video. First of all, we don't like how we look on video. I get it. I don't like how I look on video either. I don't like listening to myself. I don't like listening to my voice. But the reality is that is how we look, and people love us anyway. So we have to learn to love ourselves. We're also nervous about doing video. We don't know what to say. We don't know how we're going to be perceived. We don't have the time to do it. We're not sure what to do after we shoot these videos. All these things are really the top reasons originators don't do video. But this is why it's important to use video. Real estate listings with video receive 40% more inquiries than listings without. Now, I know you're not doing real estate listings, but what if you were to make some videos that a real estate agent could use? Then that would be able to help them get some lift, right? We know that video captures attention. It can be consumed quicker than reading it is. Our social media platforms encourage video sharing over text-only posts, and our studies show that millennials continue to represent the largest percentage of home buyers right now. So it is no longer a matter of if you're going to do video, it's a matter of when you're going to do video. So let's talk about the different types of videos you can do. The first is being a local expert. So Gary Vaynerchuk, I was at a conference at Inman Connect back in 2016, and Gary talked about using the term digital mayor of your town. And that's really it. So when you think about your branding and being that local expert, so that local expert ties into your brand, who you are. Because a lot of what you can focus on are things around your areas. So if it's a personal interest of you, we have a client of ours who loves dogs and does dog rescue. And so they do a lot of videos around dog parks in their area, around rescue things that are going on. They talk about how to look for a home if you own a dog. And these are all things that you don't think about. You would never think about putting that into a personal brand. You would never think about putting that into a mortgage video. But when you tie in your personal brand Remember that mission statement. If your life were a business, what would your mission statement be? And you tie in your interests and your strengths and your passions, and you bring those into your personal brand. Then being a local expert is a little bit different because you make connections with people based upon not just talking about mortgages, but what also you're interested in as well. Another example, we have a client that's in Knoxville, and he had recently moved there, didn't know a lot of people. So he started a series on YouTube called Knoxville Bites. And the videos were always geared at, hey, are you looking at relocating to Knoxville? Here's some great areas you can visit. And he would showcase different areas in Knoxville. Now, was it talking about mortgages? No. Was it getting attention? Yes. In fact, after his first video, he had 3 real estate agents contact him and say, I love what you're doing. Can I do one with you? Because of what? Personal brand. So your personal brand can tie into the videos you're doing. And you think about, as far as being a local expert, how can you do that? And it's not hard. Grab your phone, get a little selfie stick. If you want, you can get a little lapel mic, or, use your earbuds and go record some things that are happening locally. So June is homeownership month. And last year I started this whole campaign. In fact, if you go to I think it's JuneHomeownershipMonth.com, I have a bunch of things around homeownership. But you can start now. We're coming into the end of April. We're kind of in the middle of April, but focusing on homeownership in your area. So think about things you can do and being that local expert and being the digital mayor of your town. The next thing you can do for videos is what I call newsjacking. And so newsjacking is looking at what's happening in the news, what's happening in your community. We just came off of Easter and Passover. And so that would have been something you could have done a video talking about something that was happening in a community. In Portland, Oregon, we always have a big Easter egg hunt at the zoo. And so that would have been something to go and focus on that. You can talk about, like, we have the Tulip Festival going on. We're in wine country, things that are happening in your community. At the holidays, you can do, here's, lights that are going on. But when you take the things that are happening in the news, whether it's your community, whether it's what's happening in the real estate market, in your local market, and you put it with video, people watch it. They make that connection with you and your brand and who you are, and they are likely to share it and retain that information. The other thing that is great to do is customer and partner testimonials. Now, I know we all go for our 5-star reviews, and I think that's great. But what if you put them on to video? And what if you gave them an opportunity to really share why they did business with you, why they liked working with you? You can do this with your real estate agents. You can do this with your customers, all of those things. And again, it's not about bragging. It's about branding, because other people want to do that. They may read a 5-star review, but they're more likely to watch a video. Your real estate agents are more likely to share a video, and it lasts longer. So where can you post videos? That entire list I just went through: Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, YouTube, podcast, websites. That's where you can post all your videos. And you should post them everywhere. If you don't have a YouTube channel, you should have a YouTube channel. YouTube is the number 2 search engine in the world, right behind Google. And so, again, tying into that ChatGPT and that online presence, it comes up when people search. I know, because we have clients that we produce videos for that get leads because someone goes to YouTube and they search for how to get an FHA loan, how to get a VA loan, all those things. So if you don't have a YouTube channel, you should definitely get a YouTube channel. Okay, so let's talk about podcasts. I apologize. I have a cold. I think I'm losing my voice, so hopefully you can hear me. Got a little bit left. I love podcasts, and podcasts are powerful. I know Blaine Rada has his podcast, and that is a great way to have conversations. I have a podcast that I do weekly called Mortgage Influencers. I did a podcast during COVID, which I called Flatten the Curve, Not the Spirit. And I just got on through Zoom. You can do these through Zoom and just talk to people about, hey, what are you doing? How are we getting through this? Keeping people positive. And it was one of the things that I won an award for. So we received a Telly Award for the podcast that we did, Flatten the Curve, Not the Spirit. Actually, we got 2 Telly Awards. And I tell you this because this is one of those things, most people aren't aware of this. Even though we're in the mortgage industry, you can qualify for awards like this, like a Telly Award. And so we submitted it. We received 2 awards. But if it's something that you want to get into as far as building you and your brand, a podcast may be a good thing for you to start. How do you do podcasts? What can you do podcasts about? You can talk about your community. You can invite leaders in community, teachers, your mayor, builders, all of those different types of people in your community. You can invite onto a podcast and do an interview. You can invite real estate agents. You can invite insurance agents, other leaders. You can invite not-for-profits. You can invite builders, all of those things. These are all potential people to do podcasts about. And the thing I love about podcasts is honestly, you can do it virtually. So you can do it over Zoom. You can do it at your studio. This is a podcast we produce for a client. They meet in their studio, in their office, but then they have realtors who are on through Zoom, and they do a weekly podcast. They record a video. And then the nice thing with the podcast is you get a video. You also get outtakes because you've got about 30 minutes worth of content. So you can pull some really nice little 1-minute clips out of your podcasts, and it gives you additional content. And then you also have the audio. The other thing that I love about podcasts is when you do it, especially with real estate agents, it gives them lift because you're also promoting them and you're getting in front of their audience as well. This is a post. A client of ours did a podcast. He had been wanting to get in touch with this particular real estate agent. They talked about real estate tax appeals. She had not given him the time of day for a very long time. And he called and asked her to be on his podcast. And she obliged. And then when we posted it, we did a boost on it. So we did an ad spend on it, and we were able to increase the post impressions. This is just from the initial post and the post reach and the engagement. And she called him and said, oh my gosh, I have never, ever had this kind of engagement on anything before. This is amazing. And I kid you not, within the next 2 weeks, she had 2 deals over to him because he had, first of all, sat down and had a 30-minute conversation with her. And you think about it, how many real estate agents do you want to get in touch with and have a 30-minute conversation with? You're trying all the time. So why not invite them onto a podcast? And now you're having a conversation with them, asking questions and recording it, and you're bringing something of value because now you're sharing it to them and to their network as well. So that's the great thing about podcasts. Super simple to do. And you don't have to come up with a lot of content. You just have to ask questions, and you have to invite interesting people. What tools do you need? Pretty simple. Camera. I do have some clients that recorded from their iPhone. I do recommend getting a camera. It's a little bit easier. You need a good mic. You need to have a plan. I like putting podcasts onto a webpage for my clients because it gives one central place to go. Devin's podcast, it was Real Estate Success Partners. We built that for him, and that's easy for him to market and promote. So I recommend getting a webpage. You obviously need a YouTube channel and a streaming service. YouTube has playlists. They have now added a category called podcasts. And so YouTube is actually, YouTube, a lot of people don't know this, has actually surpassed Spotify in terms of podcast streams. So people that are streaming video podcasts, YouTube has passed Spotify. And so it is definitely growing. But the podcasts are great, great, great feature and a relatively easy thing to do. Okay, so what's holding you back? What's stopping you from, first of all, identifying you and your brand? Remember, it's me incorporated, assessing your strengths, bringing in your passions, what's important to you, and writing that mission statement. If your life were a business, what would that mission statement be? If you, the brand of you, me incorporated, were a business, what would your mission statement be? Write that down. So we have a handout. I have some of these things in there for you to go through. I have the slide deck in there, but I want you to think about this. And again, the very first book that I wrote was with Brian Tracy, and I learned so much from him. If people like you, they will listen to you. But if they trust you, they will do business with you. And that's what branding, that's what building you as a personal brand, and that's what video does, is it builds that trust. Okay, so I'm going to post up here the handouts. I'm going to see what questions we have. Okay, Teresa asks, what if my company will not let me brand myself? Everything has to go through company marketing department. So Teresa, I would recommend having a conversation with your company, because a lot of them, they are letting you brand. It's just maybe they don't have an understanding what that looks like. And so I would set up a conversation with them, say, this is what I want to do, and this is what I want to build. Most of the time, compliance and marketing just want to know that you're not going rogue and talking about things that you shouldn't be talking about. But I would definitely have a conversation with them. We are starting to see a lot of companies now opening their mind to saying, yes, the brand of you. In fact, we actually have a client who has started an entire mortgage influencer division within the organization, and we're working with them to build that personal brand for those individuals, because they recognize that it is you that gets that business, not the name of the company. And so it's like, I mean, you think about Michael Jordan shoes. They're Michael Jordan shoes. Yes, they're made by Nike, but they were promoted by who? Michael Jordan. I still have little tiny Michael Jordan shoes. I live 3 blocks from the Nike campus. So I have little Nike Jordan shoes that my son had when he was maybe 6 months old. And so that's the brand. Michael Jordan is the brand. Nike is the company. So I would definitely, Teresa, talk to them. And if you guys have questions, or, if I can help in any way, I have my contact information up. I'll show in a minute. You can always go to my website, which is Edge of Marketing. My personal, just go to callgingerbell.com, and that's all my contact information. And so Trisha's saying, I think that maybe there are some realtors on this call. Maybe. So I have an anonymous question. What do you use to edit your videos? So there's a couple of different things for editing. Personally, for me, I have an video production company. So I have a staff of video editors. They use, some of them use Final Cut. Some of them use Adobe Acrobat. I have clients that I have taught how to use Camtasia. And I think if you're just starting out and editing your videos, Camtasia, which is by TechSmith, is probably the easiest one to use. If you're just shooting on your phone and you're editing those on your phone, you can use, there's a couple of different apps on your phone that I like to use. One of them is called CapCut, CapCut. And then another one I really like is called Splice, Splice. So those are apps on your phone. Okay, John is asking, is it wise to keep a weekly video newsletter to 1 to 3 minute tops? You advise then adding each video to YouTube. How do you increase subscribers? Okay, so 2 questions. First one is the video newsletter. Yes, I do entirely encourage you to do a video newsletter. 1 to 3 minutes tops. And if you want to do like a video newsletter, I also recommend taking that video newsletter and turning it into a blog on your website. Use the video and post the content underneath. So you have both the video and you also have the script of it. Here's why. It's going to help your SEO. And it ties into that whole ChatGPT thing that I'm talking about. because social cannot be searched through AI. You can be found for your profiles, but anything you put onto your social is not searchable through AI. So ChatGPT, if you're posting something onto LinkedIn, if you're posting something onto social, it's not going to help you in terms of searches other than somebody can see you're on LinkedIn or you're on Twitter and you're on Facebook. So right now, it's so important to have a YouTube channel, to get a blog, video vlog on your website, but I also recommend doing the video and then also doing the transcript underneath. To the second point of your question, you advise adding each video to YouTube channel. How do you increase subscribers? So YouTube is tricky. And I honestly am in the middle of a master class with a very well-known YouTube influencer to kind of learn some of this, because as an industry, we don't know a lot about subscribers. Kyle Seagraves, who started his YouTube channel probably about 4 years ago, he has about 147,000 subscribers. And his took off really during COVID. And he is a bit of an anomaly. But what I want you to think about as far as subscribers, how you get subscribers is posting content consistently and posting good content, and then sharing out to your social network through your newsletter and have people subscribe. And it just takes time. So it's one of those things that it's a marathon. YouTube is a marathon. It's not a sprint. And so you just have to commit to doing good, consistent content that educates consumers. Now, there are definitely some keys as far as adding certain phrases, and I'm not talking hashtags, I'm talking phrases into your description and things like that. So those are things probably for another topic for another day. Mark, my contact information. Yes, I will post my contact information. And so you can reach me. I'm going to post, actually, I've got a couple of different ways. The best one for my contact, personally, it's called Ginger Bell. My company is EduMarketing. You can reach me there as well. Okay, so next question, where would you start in terms of social media and knowing how to upload, tag, and edit for free? So a couple of things as far as starting with social media. I would choose one platform. How to upload, tag, and edit for free, that's you. So if you want free for you is a very good price. And so we have a couple things. We don't really teach you how to edit. I would go to YouTube, learn how to edit. There's places that can teach you how to edit, but a lot of times it's just playing around with that. So if you want to do it for free, that is you, my friend. Okay, Ethan asks about, what about Grammarly? Grammarly is another one. Grammarly is another AI. I use Jasper. So there's other ones. ChatGPT for some reason just took off. I don't know why. It has been around for a while. Next question, is ChatGPT an app on an iPhone? You know what? I don't think it's an app. I'm not sure. I just use it on my computer. So I'm not really sure if it's an app. And okay, so Anita wants to know the apps. Yes, so I will type in the apps. So the two apps for video editing on your phone, CapCut is one and Splice is the other. And I have an iPhone, so I don't know how those are on Android. Okay. And so, do you know of any social media workshops that I'm comfortable sharing videos on those platforms? So, I don't think there's any workshops per se, and it's a pretty general topic. So, darn good question, anonymous attendee. We'll have to definitely look at that. And so Dave's saying, so another one, company doesn't allow posting to YouTube. We can only use Facebook and LinkedIn for social media. Any recommendations where I can use similar results without using YouTube? Dave, I would have a serious conversation with your company and I'm not sure why they're not letting you use YouTube. If there's anything I can help you with, let me know. And Dave continues to ask, are hashtags actually helpful on YouTube? A little bit, not really. Mostly it's the description. Mostly it's your hook, and mostly it's good content. So the hashtags are not at all what they used to be. And I know because my son does so much in social media, same thing across Twitter and all those other places. Hashtag is kind of like a Dewey Decimal System. It's a way for the internet to sort it. It's not necessarily a way for you to find it. Okay. So Jennifer says, I use an iPhone ring light and don't edit. One and done. Yes. I have a phrase, Jennifer, that I use: 1 minute, one take, one video. And so you just get it done. 1 minute, one video, one take, and you just post it. And then, okay, so this is our last question. I'm going to let you guys go. Trent asks, when doing an educational video about mortgages, there's so much fine print I want to include to cover in myself, but the nitty gritty probably gets boring and may not capture an audience. Do you bother discussing all the fine print details in a video, or just put it out there and deal with the people that challenge you? Is there a general CYA, like a call to action message you would include in your videos? So, darn good question, Trent. What we do, so fine print as far as all of your compliance, check with your company on it. Honestly, as long as you are making sure that your licensing information is on your social media platforms, that you have all the things you need to do, you don't necessarily need to put all of your licensing information onto every single video. So that's the licensing part. As far as the nitty gritty, yes, there's a lot that goes into getting a mortgage, and there's no possible way for you to explain it in one video. And I hear you, and I struggle with this myself, and I've taught every kind of program that's out there, FHA, VA, 203K, every mortgage regulation. So I hear you when you're saying there's so much to get through. What I want you to do is, when you're putting your videos together, pick one topic, just one, and think about what is one thing that you want that viewer to learn from that one topic, not the entire process. So let's say, for example, it's what is on page 1 of the loan estimate. That's all you're going to explain. And maybe you do a series where you say, hey, I'm doing a series on the loan estimate and what you need to know. And so in this video, I'm going to talk about page 1. And then you do the next video, which is page 2. And in YouTube, you can link those videos. So when you get to the end of it and you post it, then you post, you can make a suggestion when you post it on a YouTube. And so you would post that. I would do a series. And here's the thing, when you're doing videos, I always use the 3 W's. Whenever you're doing a video, the first thing is, who is it for? Who is this video for? Because if you try to make it too broad, you're not going to reach anyone. So get specific. Is it a first-time home buyer? Is it a veteran? Is it somebody who's moving up, moving down, moving on? Whatever. Who is the video for? And address them in the video. So if it's for someone that is renting, then you're going to do a video. Are you looking to buy your first house this year? That tells me specifically, who is this video for? When they say yes, why, yes, I am. If they're not, if they're an investor, then I say, no, that's not me. So make sure and upfront say, who is this for? And I always write it down. I have a 3W list. So the first thing is, who is it for? The second thing is what? What are you going to cover in the video? What are you going to teach me? So if you're doing a video for a first-time home buyer, say, hey, are you looking to buy a home in 2023? This video is for you. And I'm going to share with you what you need to know to get into a house by the end of the year. That's the what. I'm going to share with you what you need to know. And then the third W is why. So who, what, and why. Why do they care? So for this example, we have, hey, if you're looking to buy a home in 2023, pay attention, because I'm going to share with you what you need to do to buy a house by the end of the year, because I know you're tired of paying your landlord. There's the why, right? So who is it for? What are you going to share with them? And why is it important? When you do that and you stick to the 3 W's on every single video that you do, then you are going to be able to have that information. Okay, that's it, guys. I'm going to go ahead and close out. Valerie, thank you so much. Yolanda, I know you're on here. Thank you so much. Arch MI, thank you so much. You've always been such a great supporter to our industry and bringing so much value in education, and I appreciate you. For those of you who are on here, stay to the end. I appreciate you. I am going to send a copy of the presentation, of the handout, and of the recording that'll come to you tomorrow. And if there's anything that I can do to help you, please don't hesitate to contact me. And always remember, always pass on what you have learned.